Hello and welcome to Saints Live, the final whistle. I'm Steve Forbes, and Southampton have just played out an entertaining 2-2 draw against Burnley here at St Mary's in the Premier League. Now here to discuss all the post-match reaction and get their analysis as well, we have ex-Southampton captain Dean Hammond and lead soccer writer for NBC Sport, Joe Prince-Wright. Now guys, I don't know if you could see me in my seat, I was getting very animated towards the end of that game. Dean, what's your overall thoughts?
Me too, Steve. You know, it was a brilliant game to watch live. It really was. It was entertaining. Obviously, 4 goals. I thought Southampton in parts were excellent. They really were. Responded brilliantly to going a goal down and created chances in the first half and finished the first half particularly strong with, you know, the Redmond chance, Livramento hitting a post, Elyounoussi hitting a post as well, and then the goal from the set piece really set it up for an entertaining second half. Credit to Burnley, they were better in the second half. Tactically, I think Sean Dyche made a really good change where he put Cornell up front and actually put Dwight McNeil on the wide left, which stopped the momentum of Livramento and stopped that threat really. But the second goal, Southampton 2-1 up, and Burnley just scored a good time for them and a poor time for Southampton really, and just took them a momentum out of the game where Southampton were really on top, and I thought they were going to go on and dominate the game and probably go and win a 3-4-1. We spoke about that when the game was going on. So it was a good game, but there will be some frustration, I think, from Southampton because they were the better team. I think they probably deserved to win, but credit to Burnley how they came back into the game and became more disciplined and structured towards the end, and probably deserved a point in the end because they were very good second half.
As Dean said there, Joe, a deserved point, and also they could be frustrated. Do you think Southampton will feel aggrieved that they didn't get all 3?
I think so, Steve. Yeah, we were all getting into it, weren't we? Up here, it was very entertaining, very lively, but I just think some of the old habits defensively from last season maybe slipped back in. Obviously, the first goal switched off from a cross. Second goal was a good strike from Cornet, but just kind of caught Alex McCarthy cold there, and Bednarak got bullied off the ball a little bit. So, yeah, I think Ralph will be disappointed at some of those defensive areas that they've improved and really worked hard on. Just came unstuck there today. But it was a very open game, a lot of chances, and there was that period before and after half-time when Saints were rampant, and I'm not sure how Redmond didn't score. Livramento's shot that hit the post came so close, and there's some really good individual displays, but I think as a team, Saints just weren't as good as they were against Leeds, and there were moments where they were exposed. But both teams went for it, to be fair. It was a much more open, attacking, entertaining game than I thought it was going to be, and draw was probably a fair result, but if any team deserved to shade it, it was Saints. So they will be frustrated by that, but they're going in the right direction.
Yeah, that's definitely a positive. Dean, Southampton did concede early. It felt like that goal from Cornet came out of nowhere.
It did really, and there wasn't much in the game at that point. I think both teams were kind of working their way into the game. And actually, I was speaking to Joe while I was watching the game, and I think there was potentially an offside in the first phase. There was an initial cross came in, the ball came back out. I think it was Jack Cork actually who potentially could have been offside, and the linesman almost gave the decision but hesitated. The ball developed again, it went wide. It's a brilliant cross, it really is, but if you look at it, I think Bednarak and Livramento got caught in two minds, and Cornell kind of, it's a good run, came in between, blindsided Livramento, and needed to just be a little bit more aware, use his body and not allow the wide player come into that central position to get a good header. But it's a good header, it's a good cross. But Southampton would be disappointed, like Joe's mentioned there. Defensively, they've been very good of late with clean sheets, look disciplined. The communication between the back four and the understanding's been very good. And that was just a lapse of concentration, I think, and probably the only mistake that Livramento made all game, because I thought again he was exceptional. You know, he's for such a young man, he's a real talent and was such a threat going forward. And from that point, defensively was very good as well. So he was brilliant. But yeah, I think if he looks at that and analyses it, he'll be disappointed. But that's part of his development. That's where he'll learn. That's where he'll become an even better player. But yeah, it was probably, I wouldn't say it was against a runner play, but it was pretty even at that point, and a goal out of nothing really, which Southampton will look at and probably be a little bit disappointed with.
Well, Joe, we didn't really create many chances for about 30 minutes in that first half, and then all of a sudden, 10 minutes of just bombarding Burnley. You had Elyounoussi and Livramento hitting the post, and then Redmond somehow putting wide. What did you make of that period?
It was incredible. I mean, the noise here at St Mary's, the fans were right behind the team. They were just building momentum, attack after attack, wave after wave. And as Dean mentioned there, a lot of it was coming down the right with Theo tucking inside, and then Livramento just flying on the outside. I mean, his shot, had it hit the inside of the post and come out, I don't know. Nathan Redmond, I want to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt that the ball was flashed over quite quickly to him at the back post, but it's still, he'll be disappointed that he didn't finish that. So yeah, again, when we look back at the game, we'll see that there was a lot of great chances that Saints created when they were on top, but just didn't quite take as many as they should have done, and that was the difference today. But again, in stages today, Southampton were very, very good, and we'll be feeling a bit disappointed that they didn't get all 3 points. I think that's just a lingering feeling that Ralph and the team will have, that yes, we played well for about 45 minutes to 60 minutes of that game, but the other 30, Burnley were dangerous, and yeah, they just got to string that 90-minute performance together.
Well, we'll get to the Southampton equaliser now, Dean. Saints had a few set pieces that weren't, shall we say, great, but it was a very good ball to tee up Livramento for the equaliser.
Well, it was a brilliant ball, and full credit to Nathan Redmond, really, because it wasn't, you know, he just missed that opportunity a few moments before, so that would have been playing on his mind, I'm for sure. But yeah, it was a really, really good delivery, and it was an excellent run from Livramento, kind of unspotted, really. He comes round the back, and it's a good header from himself, good power, on target, and what Southampton really, really deserved, because they had probably a 20-minute period towards the end of the first half where they were exceptional. Burnley really didn't know how to deal with the forward play. Joe's mentioned the opportunity for Redmond, Livramento hitting the post, Elanusi getting into good positions, Brower had a few chances blocked, so there was real momentum and real quality in the attacking phases. But probably the hardest chance Southampton took, which was kind of the story of the game, really. But yeah, I think it's a real credit to Southampton, because I think we've said on the show a couple of times they need to create a little bit more, create opportunities. We mentioned Adam Armstrong not really getting those opportunities, but today they did create, 4 in the first half, and probably deserved to go in the lead at half time. But it's a good header, and it was good to see Livramento score as well, because like I say, he'll be disappointed from Burnley's first goal, and he had an exceptional game.
Joe, Dean's been singing Livramento's praises, how impressed he's been with him. We heard the fans, Tino, all throughout the game. What did you make of his performance today?
Yeah, it was tough not to join in with them, to be honest. He was that
I thought
good.
they were singing Dino.
Dean stood up and applauded him. Yeah, it was unbelievable, wasn't it? The reaction he got, and just, yeah, he was my man of the match by a country mile. I think week in, week out, he just goes to new levels. Yes, he'll learn a lot defensively from that first goal where he just got wrong side, right? Dean just switched off, but he's so young, especially defensively. That will come over the years. He'll develop that part of his game. But yeah, Dean and I were chatting. The sky's the limit for him, and it was great to see him feeding off the energy. You felt like every time he surged forward and the crowd urged him on, it just gave him more confidence to try shots, put the ball into the right areas, and great finish as well. So Livramento, yeah, he's the fans' favourite. He's my favourite. I think he is, yeah, a Saints legend in the making. He really is.
But I think as well, I mean, second half, watching it from a high is a lot easier than playing the game.
Yeah,
but he was on a lot more in the second half. That diagonal pass that was worked so well first half was on in the second half. He was a little bit ignored, which was interesting. But again, that's part of his development. For him to demand the ball when he's in that position, let the players know, I want the ball, I'm a threat. But Dwight McNeil did a good marking job on him in the second half to really prevent that threat. But yeah, he was very, very good when he did have the ball. He's such a threat, and he's so quick. He really is, and I think there's even more to come from him.
I think you're right. I think we'll be seeing more Livramento 21 shirts dotted around St Mary's as well in the coming months. Dean, talk us through Southampton's second goal, because it seemed like Burnley had it at the back, and then 10 seconds later it was in the back of their net.
Yeah, they had comfortable possession. I think the centre half, I can't remember which one it was, tried to play it out, a ball into midfield, which wasn't really on. And the most impressive part, that Diallo plays a first-time ball, because your normal instinct there is to have a touch, analyse what's on, and then play. But he was aware, he saw that Brower was through on goal. It's a good pass, good way to pass. And Brower, we spoke before the game, he's quite single-minded when he gets in those positions. He's confident, I wouldn't say he's arrogant, and I don't think there was anything else on his mind. He got the ball. We thought he might have taken an extra touch, taken it too far, but it's a brilliant finish. And I have to mention, Theo Walcott's run as well. He starts on the outside, then he comes on the inside to kind of distract the defenders, but it's a really, really good finish. And that's 2 Premier League starts and 2 goals. So again, for such a young man, he's very, very impressive. He leads the line very, very well. He's quick. Like we see, he can finish. So again, another good signing, and credit to the manager and credit to the recruitment at the football club, because they're bringing good players into the football club at the moment.
He's such a handful as well. I don't think Burnley knew what to do with him. He's running in behind and just holding the ball up so well. And yeah, he's an incredible talent. Again, another young player, and I think another fan's favourite. So
Definitely.
Really, really good leading the line today.
Definitely, but it didn't take long for Burnley to get their equaliser though, Joe. Maxwell Cornet again with a snapshot. Felt like it just caught McCarthy off guard.
It did. He took it so early. Obviously, Bednarak kind of got out-muscled there on the initial ball over the top, so they'll be disappointed with that. But yeah, sometimes you just have to hold your hands up, right, Dean, and say it was a good strike, and he caught him off guard. But yeah, it was a really good finish, but I still think there's some work Saints could do defensively on that. But Maxwell Cornet, I mean, great player. Surprised, many people were pretty surprised that he turned up at Burnley from Lyon. So yeah, it's a really good sign now. Dean, I know you were very impressed with him, and he had a good battle against Livramento down that flank as well.
He did, he really did, and the second goal was very, very impressive. You know, he kind of almost he had it on his mind as soon as the ball bounced that he was going to strike it, and like Joe mentioned, McCarthy just couldn't get his feet set. He couldn't move his feet, and it's a really good finish. But I think Chris Wood's second half was better. You know, physically against Salisu and Bednarak, he gave them real problems. Salisu a couple of times was trying to be over-aggressive, and Chris Wood is a big striker and was holding him off and didn't do anything amazing. He's not like anything stood up, but when the ball came into him, he was chesting it down. He was winning more headers. So Burnley were just more effective second half. But Cornell, you know, really, really good finish with his left foot, and you know, I think he himself has only started 3 or 4 games for Burnley. I think that's his 3rd goal of the season, so it looks like a really good signing.
Yeah, definitely. Dean, you mentioned a bit earlier that Southampton will be frustrated, although it's a deserved point. What do you think the mood's going to be like now in that dressing room?
Frustration. I don't think there'll be disappointment as in the performance. I think there'll be disappointment in the result. Maybe the goals, like we mentioned, the goals conceded and the timing of the second goal, because I thought Southampton had real momentum then and were going to go on and win the game. But it's a young squad, it really is. We've talked about that, and the way that the team are playing, with the energy they play, the amount of chances they're creating now, and the way they're playing the game, I think it's so impressive. You know, they're trying things. I watched it from the goal kicks. You know, it's the centre half rolling the ball to the keeper to then get it again. It's very, very different. Second half, we saw with Romeo goes kind of into the almost as more of a centre half to get the ball to run into midfield. So there's real development and real progress, and it's interesting to watch the team. I think they're playing very, very well, but again, there's this group of fixtures is really, really important. Me and Joe were talking about it, picking up 3 points because there's some difficult games coming up. So it's really, really important. But they started that well. A win last week, a point today, could have been 3. So there'll be some frustrations, but there has to be some positives in terms of the performances, and 4 points out of 2 games is not too bad.
Well, Dean mentions the game's coming up, Joe. What does this point mean in the grand scheme of things? Because it's now a result that leaves us 16th in the league.
Obviously a win would be much better, and I think that a lot of fans will be going home just thinking what if tonight. But yeah, Watford, Villa, Norwich coming up, those are the next 3 games. You're really looking at 2 wins minimum from those games, so it's put a little bit of extra pressure, I think, on Southampton after getting that draw today. So yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I think at the end of the season, Burnley are a tough team to play against, difficult. They changed their styles up. We were saying that from last season. They're more adventurous. They made it a more attacking, entertaining game. But I think for Saints now, they need to kick on again. They need to, as Dean said, 4 points isn't a bad return from those 2 home games. You probably would have thought maybe draw at home against Leeds, beat Burnley. So they've done the opposite. But now against Watford, Villa and Norwich, they really have to kick on. And some of those young players, they learned some valuable lessons today. Brower, his confidence is just sky high at the moment. Livramento defensively will get better, and going forward we know how good he is. So yeah, Diallo again I thought was very good as well. But as long as they can clean up those defensive errors, I think moving forward the next 3 games, really good opportunity to put some more points on the board, because there's some tough games coming up before Christmas as well. So need to start building that momentum and getting points as quick as possible.
Yeah, well, let's address the next 2 games, the immediate fixtures. On the Tuesday, it's Chelsea in the EFL Cup, and then it's Watford next Saturday, who today beat Everton 5-2. So not easy games either of those, Dean, are they?
They're really not, and Watford, their season's been pretty hit and miss. You know, Claudio Ranieri has come into the club. I've worked under Claudio. He's a good manager. He is. You know, the first game against Liverpool, they got taught a lesson, but they've reacted really, really well today, and go away Everton to win 5-2, I believe it was a brilliant result. But you know, the Chelsea game on Tuesday, I think it is a good time, because it allows the manager to get some more minutes into players. We saw Stuart Armstrong come on today, and for him to work on his condition and fitness will be brilliant. Shea Adams again has just returned from a little bit of an injury. I think after the game on Tuesday, James Ward-Prowse can come back in next weekend, so the squad gets even stronger. And the game against Chelsea, no one really expects Southampton to win. But, you know, a couple of weeks ago, they gave Chelsea a really, really good game. And you know, always performed pretty well against Chelsea. So there's an opportunity there in the Cup. And we saw what a cup run can do like it did last season. So they're always important. But I think the most important game is the Watford game next week. And I fancy Southampton. You know, Watford are indifferent. You know, they've had a brilliant result. So hopefully Southampton can go there, play like they have with that high energy, that confidence. And they'll give Watford a really good game.
Joe, will Ralph see the Chelsea game as maybe a free hit ahead of a Watford game, which we're saying is crucial?
I think so. Like Dean summed it up perfectly there. Chance to get Shea Adams, Adam Armstrong, Stuart Armstrong minutes under their belt. Obviously, Brother can't play because he's on loan from Chelsea. So, yeah, it's going to be about finding that right balance, a mixture of giving it a real good go, because there's a great opportunity there to get into the last 8 of the Cup. And Chelsea have had some attacking injuries, Werner and Lukaku going down recently, so they may not play the likes of Havertz or Hudson-Odoi or others. So I think there's an opportunity there for Saints to go and build momentum. But like Dean said, the most important game is Watford next weekend, and if Saints can come away from that with a victory, then that is a big statement, I think, for this young team, that they've learned from games like today, and then they can kick on and make it count in the important areas. Defensively, be more solid, and then, like we said, they could have scored 4 or 5 today, so have to be a bit more clinical when they do get the chances.
Great stuff. Well, Joe, Dean, thank you so much for joining us again on the final whistle. So Southampton earn a deserved point here at St Mary's against Burnley in a 2-2 draw. Next up, it's Chelsea in the EFL Cup. We won't be with you on that one for Saints Live, but we will for the next game on Saturday against Watford. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff, so Saints Live will be with you from 1:45. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you then.